Hey everyone, this is Greg. We saw a really cool presentation last week regarding the use of statistics in sports, and it kind of made me think about how gathering more and more statistics about players in sports or in games can change the fundamental aspect of the game. And it certainly has in baseball quite a bit to some degree. Just look at the story of the Oakland A's and how they've used statistics to understand who to buy or who to hire and how to play the game and how to play a really good game on a budget if you look at their really successful years. But what we're seeing now with the applications like increased sensor technology and increased video technology is that we're able to gather more and more data that are very, very specific, and they're not just hitting averages and these larger stats. It's very specific. We can kind of drill down to understand what this person's statistics are about a specific type of events that might happen in a specific type of game. Now, the problem with that type of data is that it's so specific that it's hard to keep in your mind. Of course, you can a player or a pitcher or a batter can try to study and memorize the statistics about their opponents, but when it comes to very specific details of is this pitcher halfway through the game? What types of what kind of pitches have they thrown so far? Who's on base? And trying to predict, what pitches they might throw or in what area of the box that those pitches might come. Theoretical predictions here, and try to gather some of those probabilities would be very difficult, even though from a computational level, they're certainly achievable. It would be hard for a player to, of course, remember all of that information. There's one game, though, that came to mind where this sort of deep level and multi-level analysis actually is being performed. It's being performed in the game of online poker. Now, as Americans, we actually, can't partake into this. It's actually illegal for Americans to transfer money into an online poker site. But what some people are doing who are playing in other parts of the world is using information, kind of data analysis tools to track the player of themselves so they can try to better their game. But the tracking software also records the play of all of their opponents at the same time. So this is a table where tracking software was not used, and this is a table where tracking software is used. And these little boxes here are generated by a third-party application that have recorded data on all of the opponents sitting at the table, and they're displaying some of that information in this little pop-up here, which is called a HUD, or a heads-up display. Now, I don't really know exactly what all of this means, but in general, people are trying to use these statistics to determine how many hands a person plays and how aggressive they are. And using that, they can factor in how they want to strategize to play against their opponent. But the thing that's interesting about this is that it's not just yes, this person is aggressive, or yes, this person is not aggressive, and yes, this person plays a lot of hands, and no, this person doesn't play a lot of hands. What it tells them is because it's recording the entire aspect of the game, because the game is essentially a video game, and everything can be recorded by a computer and thus analyzed by a computer, it's getting into very specific details. So it's recording things like how aggressive they are at every stage in the game, how aggressive they are after they've been raised at every stage in the game, and how aggressive they are after, how likely they are to, re-raise at every stage of the game. And so there's very minute analyses. These are things that, it's really impossible to kind of keep in your mind for all of your different opponents, but it's very easy to integrate them into your game if you have something that's just kind of popped up and always on site, always at hand. Now, of course, if we look at a baseball game, we do have statistics that are available for everyone. The pitcher can double-check the hitter's batting average, and the player can double-check the pitcher's history or statistics, but that's not moment by moment. It's not something that's really going to help that person in the matter of making a quick decision in the matter of several seconds. This is just kind of general information that's used to describe these players. This sort of analysis really is focusing on trying to give players of a game a certain sort of edge or a certain sort of insight that can allow them to make very quick, very specific decisions. And I'm curious that as technology increases, as video and sensor technology increases, more of this specific kind of drilled down level of data analysis could be integrated into physical sports. Now obviously we wouldn't have a little pop-up statistics window over somebody's shoulder as they're coming up to bat, but what we might see is that, and we may be seeing this now, is that a data analysis team or representative that works for a baseball club is crunching some numbers and calling those down to the field and trying to use that data analysis to execute some plays. Of course, we probably wouldn't know much about that as fans. I would imagine that teams might want to keep that kind of that level of analysis to themselves to some degree. But whether they're crunching it and integrating into live gameplay decisions would be very interesting to understand. Anyway, that's a little bit about some data analysis tools that are being used in games. Thank you very much for checking out the video. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you in class.